Welcome to Historizing the MC Culture, Episode 11, The Assimilation of Cultures and Influence. Hey, I'm your host, Prophet, member of Outcast Motorcycle Club. In this episode, I seek to analyze those cultures that had a profound impact on the evolution of the MC culture and their history. So let's go ahead and get into it. So as we look at the full spectrum of the motorcycle club arena, it's easy to see the various influences that have conjoined to form this wide gamut of cultures brought together on one accord. This life is a matrix of many cultures that have poured into it to birth the very thing that we hold sacred today. And this is critical examination of those various entities, cultures, and theoretical thought that currently make up the ever-evolving motorcycle club arena. Perhaps the most obvious cultural influence comes from the American Cowboy. This culture alone has given us so many things that it becomes virtually impossible to ignore the influences for which it is birthed. The spurs that many black bikers wear are a reminder of the virtually forgotten black cowboys of the West, like Bass Reeves and Issam Dart and the Buffalo Soldiers. The chaps that bikers wear and the leather vests are both attributed to the cowboy culture. Even such omens like the dead man's hand that Wild Bill Haithcock was holding when he was murdered belongs to the cowboy culture. And we can't forget the ever-present duster that you see many black bikers wearing today as a nod to the cowboy culture. The gesture of giving a first-time visitor to your clubhouse his first drink on the house is a cowboy custom that harkens its days back to the saloons. And right along with the American Cowboy, the American Indian cannot be forgotten as well. Those American-made motorcycles we ride are affectionately known as iron horses. That term was first coined by the Plains Indians who watched their lands be defiled with the addition of the steam-driven locomotive as the transcontinental railroad was being assembled. Later, this same term and the term American iron would go on to refer to motorcycles we ride, and this was due to the refinery process having made use of a higher grade of iron ore in its development. Also, the renaming of a prospect turned brother is a practice derived from Native American heritage. It was common for an indigenous person to have several names throughout their life as they continually evolved the various stages of life. Another cultural influence that has permeated on the motorcycle club culture is from the Italian mob and the American crime family. From them, we get the ideology of omerta. This is a code of silence and the refusal to cooperate with authorities. Some men still wear this patch upon their vest, and it serves as a visual representation that they subscribe to the idea of silence regarding activities and movements. Additionally, we develop our set of codes from the crime boss families. This is never attack a man from behind. Always look him in the eye. Never involve a man's family in business, and never take business to a man's home. As we look internationally, we must understand how we draw cultural influence from the Far East with groups like the Mongol Empire and the Huns of the 4th century. These were strategic and nomadic people who had no fixed home. Today, we use the Greek word nomad to reference wanderers and travelers who seem to have no fixed home. In the MC culture, we use the term nomads in much the same manner to reference a traveler who seems to have no home. Coming out of Britain, we'd be remiss if we failed to mention the influence British Parliament has had on the motorcycle club culture. Our structure, our positions, bylaws, and meetings are a direct reflection of that culture. The position of president, vice, secretary, treasurer, and sergeant-at-arms and their authority is derived from British Parliament through American government and clearly spelled out in such documents as Robert's Rules of Order. Even today, a serious secretary maintains a copy of Robert Rules of Order and regularly references it in order to stay within due bounds. Taken from the high seas of the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean, we must also mention the cultural influence of piracy. From this culture, we see the emergence of skull imagery and the flying of flags. In piracy, a certain flag named Jolly Roger was hoisted to show others that this particular ship was on the hunt. Jolly Roger served as a warning to others to stay clear. Additionally, pirates had a set of codes that were known as Articles of Agreement. These codes plainly define discipline, how to enact and change laws, and the overall conduct of the crew. Today, we call these bylaws. Additionally, the gesture of passing the bottle can be attributed to piracy. The consumption of whiskey and rum by shipmates as a sign of solidarity as it is in motorcycle club today. And as we examine medieval times, it becomes evident how imagery from that era has influenced the motorcycle club culture. The Iron Cross of Jerusalem's Teutonic Knights has its genesis in the year 1219 AD and is very much a part of the very fabric of the motorcycle club life. Additionally, the Maltese Cross has its genesis in the 14th century with the Knights Hospitaller. Their symbol is used extensively in back patches and other symbolism within this arena. The samurai culture has contributed greatly to the motorcycle club culture as well. And through this amalgamation of the samurai way, we've developed our own way of life in the motorcycle club matrix. The samurai were an honorable group who were extremely disciplined while living by a set of codes of their own. And these were known as Bushido Codes. These are the tenets of Bushido: sincerity, frugality, loyalty, and the mastery of martial arts. In the MC arena, we too mimic these very codes of the Bushido. And additionally, we substitute the mastery of martial arts for the mastery of motorcycle riding. And loyalty is a huge tenet of the motorcycle community as it forms the basis for the principles of brotherhood and sisterhood. And lastly, the samurai based their entire existence off of the tenet of honor. How different would the MC community be if all its members made a firm commitment to living with honor? From the ancient guilds of the Masonic bodies, we adopted the tenets of charity. Motorcycle clubs have a stern reputation for being ambassadors to the community, and contributing charity is one of the cornerstones to many clubs. The Masonic bodies also have a reputation of charity. And in fact, the Shriners donate roughly $1 million a day to care and charity through its burn institutions and temples. Today, one of the most respected aspects of local motorcycle clubs is their dedication to charity, a tenet that has its roots in Masonry. The de facto truth is the motorcycle culture is the result of amalgamation of many different cultures that have contributed to its current state. It's important to know and to understand how assimilation affects culture and drives evolution. As the MC arena continues to absorb various cultures, tenets, and schools of thought from others, it continues to evolve and redefine itself in an ever-changing world. And this is by no means a complete list of the cultures that influence the MC arena, from the Vikings to fraternities and sororities and beyond. Cultural influence is a major component to the motorcycle club culture we exist in today. I hope you've enjoyed episode 11 of Historizing the MC Culture with myself, Prophet, member of Outcast Motorcycle Club. We all have a responsibility to teach one, each one. Peace.